Cash-a-maniacs.
GeoGearHeads. And you're one of them.
Welcome to episode 278 of the GeoGearHeads. Tonight we have a special guest with us, and you know, I really have to say every guest is special, but this one is specialer than most.
You are too kind.
Yeah, well, and I'm really good with English too. You can tell.
I like that.
Yeah.
Actually, thanks for having me. Happy to be.
Oh, well, thank you very much for coming.
Well, we had to get you on after Lullaby for You recommended you as a really good hider, and even suggested we talk to you about a couple of caches. But why don't you give us a little bit of background on yourself and your caching?
Actually, discovered the game through Stumble Upon, and being the fool that I am, ran immediately out with a true automobile GPS unit, and after our first cache, that was very difficult, and found myself about a quarter-mile away in the end from where I really needed to be, because I didn't know that there were multitudes of ways to finally got into the game, loved it, drank the Kool-Aid, and been on since.
Excellent. Now, we are having a little bit of problem with your connection and breaking up a little bit, so if it gets too bad, we might have to pause for a moment, but I apologize to everyone. We've been working on this issue right up to showtime. Let's get into the first one, which is the one that Lullaby for You recommended, which is called Archimedes, a Principled Cacher, which is GC3CDPV. And don't worry, we'll have links in the show notes again.
Now, it is not an atypical cache. In most areas of the country, there's something sort of stereotypical cache. Makes this one unique. It's the container itself, public greenway to a chain link blend. It is colored PVC pipe with the container inside, and you can walk right by it and never notice it.
So really good camo, and I don't think we actually talked about how this hide actually works yet.
Well, of course, Archimedes' theory of buoyancy. Are we still lagging?
Yeah, we are lagging a bit, but I think we're getting a little bit more stable now. So let's give it a shot and talk about how this works.
Okay. Archimedes' principle of buoyancy. And basically, it is a cylindrical, or a tube, probably 2 feet or so high. It takes about 2 liters of water. There are 2 drainage holes in the bottom of the pipe. You plug those up with your fingers, pour the water in, and the matchstick container will float up, revealing the log. Like I say, I won't say it's a unique hide by any means, because I have certainly gotten several of those around the country. But the way it blends in is pretty neat.
Yeah, that's not that rare anymore, but you still don't see a whole lot of them. And it sounds like this one was a really simple build. You know, there's no moving parts to reset. It's just a pipe with some holes, essentially.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of West Virginia Tim, who has been on your show several times, who has got maybe the greatest gadget caches in the world. But no, this one's pretty simple and straightforward. Pour the water in, float the log to the top. My maybe even my favorite part about it is actually the hint. And it's funny to me, at least, how many people get the cache but never ever understood the hint. The hint is HIJKLMNO.
I'm not seeing the significance of that yet.
Yeah, okay. Apparently, I suck at hints. H2O.
Okay.
Yeah. See, to me, it
H2O.
made perfect sense,
gotcha.
but
Just took me a little too long, I guess.
yeah, I'm not good at this.
Now, 2 liters of water, that seems like a pretty hefty amount to have to carry with you.
2-liter Coke bottle.
Yeah.
And it's not quite 2 liters. I do allow a little bit for some leakage. But it's probably about 2.5 feet tall. So yeah, it takes a little liquid.
Okay.
Limax is asking if there's at least a water spigot nearby.
No.
No,
desert.
Yeah, no rivers or ponds.
Small stream, a very small creek nearby, unless it has been raining 20 minutes.
Oh, and I think we lost you a little bit there. Why don't you try muting your video, see if that will help a bit. And at the same time as you're doing that, let's move on to the next one that you actually mentioned as being a favorite of yours. And it's a variant on the LPC.
Yes.
I love the name of it.
Probably my favorite container. I'm not much of an LPC guy as a whole. I appreciate those that hide them. They're great for the numbers, and when I'm traveling through some desolate county and I need that county, that's great. But I wanted to do something a little different. So it multi, but even within the multi, it is figure out what to do. But then in the end, the container itself, it's just fun. I mean, you get there and it has that wow factor to it, I think. And given the fact that it's an LPC, sort of, given the fact that it's a multi, which a lot of folks don't want to chase, does have as many favorite points as it does. I'm pretty proud of that one. I really like that one.
Yeah, and we've got a photo that you shared with us that I'm assuming we don't want to give too many details away because it does show the actual cache container. And this is not what
That's
I would
actually
expect
okay.
in the slightest.
Okay, I sent you that photo for that reason. It's okay to show the final, because getting into it, you're still going to have to figure out the rest.
All right, so from this photo, I'm going to try to describe it for our audio folks. It's basically a gray electric box strapped to a light pole in the parking lot of a Target. Am I correct? Oh, he's breaking up. But it does have a padlock on it, and that's the trick is you have to find the combination through the multi, I'm assuming.
Exact. Well, yeah, yes, that's the short answer. The way you proceed through the multi will pretty much tell you how to find the combination once you're at the final.
Interesting.
Oh, that's nice.
It's fun. It's just a lot of fun.
And I assume you're getting excellent feedback on this one as well, including lots of favorite points.
Yes, yeah. Like I say, we had an interesting discussion in our Facebook group not too long ago. Just why don't people go after multis or puzzles, or where I go is basically anything that is out of the ordinary. And so, given that this is very not ordinary, a multi and a puzzle wrapped in a riddle enigma kind of thing, the fact that it has gotten as many favorite points makes me pretty happy.
Yeah, and that's 32, which is a really good number around here.
Well, considering it's got 51 finds. I mean,
right.
That's a very high percentage.
Yeah, well, even the 32 is a good number of favorites. I mean, there are some areas where you see a lot of favorite points allocated, but most areas that's not so much the case. And 32 is going to be one of the better caches in the area as far as that goes.
Sure, and the fact that, like I say, that it is a multi and a field puzzle, to me, is way cool. Because a lot of folks, they just they don't want to take the time to go after either puzzles or multis. I mean, let's face it, they want the numbers and they want the park and grabs, and that's fine. But so when that people isn't, that's what makes me happy. That's what puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, well, and one of the reasons a lot of people around here, at least, don't tend to do the multis, and I've talked with a number of people elsewhere that have the same concern. They'll do like 3 or 4 of the multis and only get to the end of one because the second or third or fourth stage is completely trashed and there's not enough information to try to skip that and go on to the next stage. So it's it's important to it's important to maintain those multis if you actually want people to be able to find them.
Yes, multis certainly require more maintenance. Have a couple, and both of those are actually pretty low maintenance. Just talking about the LPC, what you're looking for is pretty unique, unless to revamp their entire parking lot. I think I'm pretty good.
Which may happen because they did go and put up all those wraps on the stores and everything for Mario Kart.
Just saw that this weekend. I went over. Well, when I went over to take the picture for you guys, started racing. Surely something with this Mario Kart head.
Yeah, we caught that yesterday with the Mario and Luigi in front of the store when we went grocery shopping nearby. So, of course we had to go in and check it out. And I want the sensor that they're using on the doors, because when you go in the doors, it does the whole start countdown thing, the ding, ding, ding. It's like, oh, I want that. That would be so much fun to figure out how to make that work for a cache. This is just this little battery operated thing that they taped up to the door.
Trip over there and see if the
all right, let's move on to the next one, which is a puzzle cache for a Wascally Wabbit and Friends GC5N5NA.
A couple of years ago, there was a souvenir for getting a puzzle cache on a particular day. I have a friend, Wascally Wabbit.
Cut out there. So this was for the 2015 Pi Day souvenir, correct?
Maybe, actually, come to think of it, yes. And Wascally Wabbit just doesn't do puzzles. I mean, I love the man, but that's just not his thing. And so I did not want him to miss out on the souvenir. And so hid one. I had found one in South Carolina several years ago that I had in the back of my mind to copycat for a while. And it is just very in your face. Here is the puzzle. Here is the answer. Okay, if you didn't get the answer that time, here's another way to get the answer. And if that still isn't getting it for you, here is the answer. Maybe you're not understanding. Let's try this. Here is the answer, kind of thing. I mean, it's a 1-1 puzzle. But again, the cache page itself is just fun. With questions like, you lose one of your fingers in a tragic light pole caching incident, and assuming you had 5 fingers to begin with, how many do you have left? Kind of questions, and so it's just a lot of fun.
And apparently very, very easy.
Yeah.
You also mentioned, though, that there was another version of this essentially in this year's Pi Day, GC71EYQ.
Yeah, I hide one every Pi Day, and they are not popular. I openly admit. In fact, last year's I think has only been found twice.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a math geek. Actually, I'm just a geek. But I love math, and so I got this idea 4 years ago or so to hide one dedicated to Pi Day, March 14th, and so that was the first one, and then the next year another one, and so now it's an annual ritual for me to hide a Pi Day puzzle. The hardest part on those for me is just coming with a new twist on pi. A different puzzle than they have seen in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, that's definitely a good challenge. But I like that theme because it's something you can think about too for like the entire year and either make it really challenging or really easy.
Oh yeah, I have a list of these all the time, wondering if I can somehow twist them and relate them to pi in some way.
Well, I really like the concept, at least, of this next one, which is searching through satellite photos to find letters and numbers. And this one is your GC57DHA. Oh, the places you'll go. So this is not a field puzzle.
No, and maybe funnest one I have out there. Stumble onto the way to solve it, and obviously I'm giving it away here, but that's okay. Because it's still fun. Google Earth is an amazing tool, and you can look at buildings and parks and roads and just all of these things, and if you look at them, make the entire alphabet and words and places you're given a list of coordinates. Happen to look at them on Google Maps or speak maps, you don't really see anything. You open them a bit, well, by golly, that hairpin road suddenly looks like an N. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was just poking around on Google Earth there. Usually I just use Google Maps sometimes just to see the cool things. And for a long time, Chris, I'm sure you'll remember because I think we had these conversations. There would actually be people posting, oh, go here and you can find this plane that you know, it's crashed in, you know, like the 40s, or go here and you see this, and oh, here's this artifact that looks like it's a whale.
Yeah, all the hidden gems within Google Earth or, you know, Google Maps satellite view. A lot of interesting things, but I love this idea of getting, you know, buildings or whatever map icons there that look like the numbers and the letters to give you what you're looking for. I was doing I think I did the first 7 or 8 of those, and I was like, what? Wait, oh, now I get it. So
yeah, it's just fun.
Yeah.
And several years ago, there were a number of articles out about how companies were redoing their roofs and checking what the grounds looked like, just so that they could put their logos or their names for the satellites, because it became all of a sudden a big enough deal that it was worth putting in some money to make it recognizable. And I remember people doing that around the airports, but you never saw that anywhere outside of the you know, mile or two around the airport before.
Yeah.
Well, ironically, I remember that article, and that is kind of what prompted me to even do this one. I just thought, now that, you know, of course, as cachers, everything we look at and everything we see and everything we read, how can I turn that, twist that, rotate that into a cache? And as soon as I saw that, I was like, man, that would be cool. That could be a lot of fun.
I'm going to have to redo my roof here soon. And my house is basically square, and I'm trying to figure out how can I talk a roofer into making the shingles on my roof look like a QR code when you're looking straight down on it. I don't think I can get the roofer to do that. I think I might have to go up there and do it myself.
Yeah, I love that idea.
Hey, pay them enough, they'll do anything you want. The question is, can you get Munzie to give you a custom QR code for that?
Exactly.
You know, one that is going to be good more than once too.
Wouldn't that be great as a one stage of a multi-cache? You know, come here. You have to have 2 phones, because you have to have one that you can see the map on, another one that you can use to scan the QR code of the roof from the
or use the computer.
Or, well, no, the idea is a multi-cache. It's going to walk you there or drive you there. So, yeah, you got to have 2 devices though.
Kind of like the
I'm making a note right now.
Yeah. Roof your house with a QR code.
The problem is you probably still have to wait a couple of years for satellites to update the for Google to update the satellite imagery.
Exactly. And then, you know, then you're forced to use Google, not Bing, or, you know, whatever satellite,
Apple Maps, or
whatever satellite provider.
MapQuest, or
So it's an idea. I don't think it'll ever. Oh, maybe you have to rent your own plane to scan the QR code. That'd be a
special tool required.
Yeah.
Hey, well, you could still do it one device. Actually, just do a screenshot of that and run it through something like QuickMark, which will take from the camera roll.
Oh, there you go. Right. I didn't think of that. There you go.
Yeah. So there's always a way.
This is so much easier now.
Piece of cake, man.
Okay. Should we move on to the next one?
I think we should.
This one is also done with pictures. This one's called "As a Picture is Worth," and that is here. I'm putting it in the show notes or in the chat here. GC4 X-Ray 7 Golf Zulu. Sorry. And you say this is your most difficult puzzle.
Yeah, I really didn't mean for it to be. It sort of turned out that way, and it is still very much a sore subject between my geomate Yamagran and I. In fact, we just don't discuss it. The
cache we shall not speak of.
Exactly. Oh, she hates it. Actually, she hates all my puzzles, but that one, Oh, it's tough. I'm not sure what else to say except it is insanely tough. It's a mosaic of thousands of pictures, and somewhere hidden in there are the true coordinates. I don't know. Actually, I don't think anyone has actually ever just solved it without at least a nudge, and that's fine. I didn't mean for it to be that difficult. I don't want my uh, puzzles to go unfound. I don't want a Jezebel type hide that goes 7, 8 years without being found. But so yeah, I'm always happy to help some folks out on that one that want a nudge, because yeah, it's tough.
Well,
It's a toughie.
Lullaby for you in the chat says it's so hard. Well, she actually says, I'm too scared of it to even try. So not even Lullaby for you is willing to try this one.
You know, I've zoomed in and looking at the picture, and even with your, little, it's in there. I'm looking at it and I've got no clue. I mean, don't spoil it if you don't want to, but it's one of those things. I'm just looking at it going, okay, let's see.
I will say
can't
this
be that hard, right?
for all of your loyal listeners and yourself, make sure the right.
More cryptic.
Yeah, is critical.
I'm gonna have to look into this one now.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I can't just keep doing this and looking at the picture and not doing the show.
Yeah, but this is the problem.
This is a good one.
It's a toughie. Yeah, I openly admit I really did not be that tough. It just turned out that way and sort of took on a life of its own. That is probably the one I have that the feedback on is well, let's just say negative. This is a family show, so we'll just call it negative.
It's got 9 favorite points and 22 finds,
which is funny because only 8 people have found it. So yeah, it's I'm gonna get a lot of favorite points.
No,
it's just not.
and there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, like I say, it is what it is, and like I say, the hint on that it is a period piece, a biggie.
Yeah, but I think this is another good example of you don't have to have a really cool container to have a really good cache. You can have a good puzzle. You can have a really interesting cache page. It's a variety of things that make a cache good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In fact, a lot of my favorite hides, they're not an overly tough puzzle, but they may not even be puzzles. I'm a theme guy, and whether that's the description or the container, as an example, I've got one hidden at a beer distributor that the container itself is actually a miniature keg.
Nice.
And I have a series based on the Zodiac cache series, and each one of those is hidden. Sagittarius is at a place called Archer's Barbecue, for example. Aquarius is at a fish tank place called the Aquarium, and so I really like the theme sort of caches.
Well, and the next one gets a little bit more involved in the actual webpage stuff called Mastermind, which is GC6Q4Z7. Yeah,
Mastermind. I had this a friend of mine, who has now moved away, started. He hit a cache called TVG Game Night, and it was based on Monopoly. And I thought, that's a cool idea. We should just have all of these game-based hides. And then a friend of mine, B Surprised 865, he had wanted to do one based on Mastermind, which I don't know if you guys played as a kid. I did and loved it. And so I wrote a JavaScript where you can play Mastermind online. And if you beat the game, you get the coordinates, and if you don't, well, you try again, and you have to play it twice, once for the north coordinates, once for the west. That's another one of those, everybody likes it, but nobody's found it.
Yeah, probably as much fun to play online instead of actually going out and go caching, especially when it's raining.
Oh yes.
Ironically, I will actually go to some nasty day. I will play the game just because I like Mastermind.
Nice. I have to say that I had a puzzle cache, and it got less than 1/10 of the fines of any conventional or traditional cache. So puzzle caches, while they're cool and they have their places, they just don't get the fines of a traditional lamppost hide, or any traditional hide.
No, I mean, a lot of folks aren't into puzzles, and that's fine. And that's fine. And even to me, I like them play the game on a really nasty, rainy, snowy day. I can't go and, but I can stay home and work on puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the sun comes out, then I can go get the cash. And so, to me, they are play even when I can't play kinds of things.
Jumping back for a second, though, we had a few people pipe up in the chat room saying that Capricorn was their favorite of that series.
Oh, absolutely.
Including that they love the goat farm.
Yes, I was going to say, for places in relation to the theme. Capricorn was the toughest. Even remotely goat related. On the border of Tennessee and Kentucky, across this place called Mountain Hollow Farm, which is a goat farm. By way to a mega event of the initial Hatfield McCoy, I'm going to stop there and I'm going to check this place out. Man, it is in the middle of nowhere. I mean, nowhere. I was certain I took a wrong turn several times. And I got down in there and I finally find this place. And sure enough, there is this little goat farm with this great store. I mean, an awesome store that takes you back in time 100 years. And they're selling yarn that came from their goats and candy that I haven't seen since I was a kid, which was my favorite part. And, my plan was just to hide maybe a little lock and lock or something there. And I just thought, no, this place just deserves so much more. And so I went in and talked to the shop owner and that lived there and was one of the farm owners. And they had heard of geocaching. And they just thought it was an outstanding idea to put one there. And I said, I'll tell you what, I will be coming back through here on Sunday and I will bring something much cooler. And so I left the event in West Virginia, stopped at Wally World, bought the biggest container I could find, filled it with swag, and brought it back down, and it's hidden there. But it's just I mean, it's just one of those neat places that you would never, ever find if you weren't geocaching. There are no signs. There is no reason for any. I don't even know how they figure out how to get home, honestly. I have no idea, but it's just the neatest place. You can get pixie sticks there. I'm just saying.
Nothing but pure sugar. I used to love pixie sticks. And what was the other one? It was like the pixie sticks sugar, but it had a stick that you could lick and dip into it.
Actually, dip was in the name, was it not?
Yeah, I think it was. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. But speaking of candy. Oh, nice. Now, so that was the Capricorn on your
Zodiac cache.
Zodiac. Thank you. Nice.
Yeah, like I say, I tried to hide them all relative to
the character of the Zodiac.
Exactly.
The Zodiac.
Crab is at a Joe's Crab Shack, and Pisces is at a Long John Silver's.
Mm-hmm.
For the two fish, and so they're all Sagittarius because the Archer's barbecue place is now, I think, a Goodwill donation site or something like that. But, so it doesn't quite fit anymore. But
a little imagination is all you need. Okay, so the next one, you have the TVG tails, and these are a bunch of Where-I-Goes. Is that right?
Yeah. So far there are only 2 of those. I have more because I have plans for about 6 million caches. You know how we all are. We write everything down, and hopefully one day we get to all of them.
Yep.
Where-I-Goes. I love Where-I-Goes. I just think the concept of this interactive so cool. I'm not dogging or diminishing any of the normal that take you to this museum and this tour of the town or whatever. I wanted to do something a little different. I mean, I come from a computer programming background, and so I wanted to take that Lua code and run with it. And so the first 2 TVG tails, they use local. They are very interactive, particularly the latest one. I mean, it has sound. The next one that I'm working on actually has video. I openly admit I gave up on Garmin.
Which is probably appropriate because if nothing else, they stopped putting the players into the newer units.
Exactly, and let's face it, has into the app realm. I mean, we whether you're the hardcores want to admit it or not, that is where we are, and that is what it is, and that's fine. I don't even say that's bad. I have to admit I use more now than, I mean, even I do that. At the same time, that opened up so many more possibilities. The next one has video. And going back to my friend Wascally Wabbit, who caches with him, whose name happens to be eFud. I mean, that one writes itself. And so the next Where-I-Go will be eFud goes on a wabbit hunt. And like I say, that one almost writes itself, and it will have audio and video, and you'll spend an hour or so in a really cool park. And if you're not careful, you might giggle.
Oh, it already worked with Daryl.
Yep.
There,
True.
my work here is done.
Okay. All right. We do want to probably wrap this up pretty soon, but we can't let you go before you talk about your latest endeavor, which is GeoArt.
Yeah, it's pretty popular already, more so honestly than I thought it would be. And with Geo Woodstock coming a month or so from now, I'm anticipating it being hit pretty hard. It's 47 caches, 235 songs, and it makes one giant guitar on your map. You basically play Name That Tune on 47 caches. If you get at least 3 of the 5 correct, that was another one of those compromises with Yamagranite and I. I wanted to make it more difficult, which sadly, if you can see the piano behind me, she is actually the musician. But if they'd been Where I Goes based on Bach and Mozart, she probably would have kicked everybody's butt. But popular music is not necessarily the forte of a middle school music teacher. So anyway,
Here I was thinking she just didn't want to get all the angry calls from the cashers who couldn't figure it out.
And so anyway, we settled we'll get 3 of the 5 on each one, and so you get them, and you go find that the caches themselves are lame. I mean, they just suck. I'm sorry that but it's they're fun little Where I Goes to play, and if you're not careful, you'll have a really good time, and you get a nice little piece of geo art in the shape of a guitar when it's all said and done.
Very cool. You mentioned Geo Woodstock, though, and you wanted to make a little tease about what you're working on for that.
Yeah, Geo Woodstock is coming up, like I say, in about a month or so, in Waynesville, North Carolina, over the mountain from us, close by. Beautiful area, very near Cherokee and Asheville. Familiar. Truly, I suggest folks come in early, stay late, whatever. Asheville has some phenomenal caches. Obviously, you can spend some time up in what we call the Tri-Cities area in northeast Tennessee, where New Cache Order, just has some great caches up there, and in Chattanooga, that group has some awesome caches in Middleton, and of course, Knoxville is very close by. Several folks actually stay in Knoxville to Geo Woodstock, and Asheville the same way. But back to your original question, I get to do something at Geo Woodstock. I hate to be too evasive or too cryptic. I'll tell you what, when it's all said and done, I will let you know what happened and how it went, but I'm going to get to just fulfill a dream, and I'm pretty excited about it, and to anyone else it's probably the dumbest thing in the world, but I am so pumped. I am so terribly excited, but when it's all said and done, I will let you know the details and send you a picture.
I'll be looking forward to that. Chris, I think before we let him go, nope. I think right now the only podcaster going to be at Woodstock is Head Hard Hat.
Yeah, the weekends just don't fall right for me, and being clear across the country, that's a tough one. But is it I realize I'm being completely geocentric, only concerned about my part of the country. I hear there's flooding. Is that does that impact where Geo Woodstock is going to be this year?
It should be okay. We have had some issues the last few days, and actually, if we end up having time, I'll tell you a great story here in a second. But no, we should be fine. Flooding around here, I'm sorry, it comes and it goes, and it's flooding yesterday, and today we're good. And of typical Western North Carolina, East Tennessee weather. They all like it. Wait 10 minutes, it'll change.
Yep. No, I thought as much, but I just had to ask.
We're going after a cache this weekend called the Dark Place, a whole bunch of us. It is an abandoned bomb shelter. I really don't know. I just know you have to go in the dark. It's a night cache. You have to crawl down or climb down into an underground room that has, spiders as big as your head and scorpions. I didn't even know we had scorpions in Tennessee. But I mean, it just looks insanely scary. And, the forecast is for some rain. And a friend of mine was concerned about the rain and thought we should perhaps postpone it. And as Yamagrana pointed out, okay, dark, underground room, scorpions, huge spiders, and you're concerned about getting damp. I mean, in the scheme of things, that is the least of our concerns.
Good point. Good point.
Chris, did you catch the question from Lullaby for You in the live chat that we should ask our guest before we go? I'm going to take that as a
I don't know which one Lullaby for You is.
Okay. She says, question for the guest.
Okay. Gotcha. Go ahead.
As an inked misfit myself, I'm curious as to whether you sport any ink.
Do I sport any ink? As a matter of fact, I do. That's fairly recent. Several years ago, I met Monkey Brad, who, if there is a face of geocaching, poster child for geocaching, it's Brad. And he has got the greatest trackable tattoo. I mean, it's just amazing. But ever since then, I had toyed with that idea. So 6 weeks ago or so, I was like, you know what? And so if I can cover it up, the tracking code, get it or not. I do have a travel bug on the arm. I drank the Kool-Aid. I chugged it on this one.
Yeah,
that looks like it might be a painful location in the soft part under the arm there. Under the
no, it wasn't that bad. Everybody warned me, but it really wasn't too bad. It was kind of like a whole lot of sweat beads. Just
but, it depends what you mixed with your Kool-Aid.
Also true with that. And I will.
Well, thanks again for joining us tonight.
As Brad once said, he always had the travel in, and now we just do literally.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. Would have loved to have some more time to spend getting to know some of your caches, and hopefully we've given some people some options that they might want to pursue themselves.
Folks, welcome to East Tennessee. You will find a pretty hospitable group of Valley geocachers.
Well, I know Limax is hoping someone will buy him a ticket, so you might have at least one person coming over.
We're here to help
Nice.
and have big fun.
And if anyone wants to check out Ol'Fogie, we've got the link to his profile on our show notes, and most of the caches we talked about are going to be linked over there as well.
Definitely.
Guys, it was great to be here. I appreciate it. Long time watcher guest.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Radio, I think.
I always said I have a face for radio. Now, let's go on to talk about our upcoming episodes. Next week, that's the 4th of May. May the 4th. Just going to leave it there. You probably figured this out, right? It's all about project-gc.com. That's one is with the developer Mangus. May 11th is Gear Your Bike number 3 with our good friend Dano of Team Pugach. May 18th is GPS Tech with Limax. That one is going to be interesting. I know Limax is doing a ton of research on this. May 25th, isn't that about the time of Geo Woodstock, is Randomize. Let's see, that's Livy with Coach V taking off the, are you ready for this? The CZO hat.
So
CZO?
check.
Yeah,
Yep.
go ahead.
Check the Cashmaniacs website at cashmaniacs.com for more on the GeoGearHeads, including show notes for this and all of our episodes. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us feedback by emailing geogearheads@cashmaniacs.com or through social media. Your support helps keep the Cashmaniacs shows coming. Please consider becoming a patron through the link on our website to support the Cashmaniacs shows. GeoGearHeads is produced by Chris Hoffenauer and Daryl Wanberg. This show is copyright 2017 by Daryl Wanberg. All rights reserved.
Cash with a Cashmaniacs.